Hey everyone, Randy with Extreme Sandbox. Today we're going to show you how to operate our mini excavator. So we get a lot of clients out here that we show how to use this equipment every day. We thought it'd be cool to put a how-to video for our Komatsu mini excavators. We are not experts, so I say that up front, but we can absolutely show you how to operate them. Come on along. First thing, it's always 3 points of contact when you get in. With all equipment, door locks open. So you want to lock that open so you have a solid handle here. 3 points of contact coming up. And all the way in. First thing you always want to do is put your seatbelt on. Now, while the machine's still shut down, the safety lock lever on the mini excavators is basically this big arm that goes all the way down. So today, again, we're showing you our Komatsu PC35 mini excavator. Almost any brand has something like this that's going to block the door, and that indicates that the machine is live. So it will leave it up like that. And then again, for the door lock, these machines can be operated with the door open. We generally recommend having them closed. There's a little lever right here that basically disengages the lock on the door so I can shut it. Okay, we're in there now. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna start it up. Key on the mini excavator, it's right over here. One click. And all the way. Alright. First thing I'm gonna do, there is an auto idle function on this machine, but I'm gonna turn it up, turn that off. Just for the video purposes, it does shake our camera up here. So we're gonna leave this all the way up to start with. Now, just kind of going over the equipment controls. Again, we're gonna leave this lock lever up. With that up, you'll see the machine is safe. Nothing's going to operate. So it's very important that you don't put that down until you're ready to go. With the Komatsu mini excavator, again, our display here does show us, typically we'd be looking if there's any indicator, warning lights, what the fuel level is, anything else that we would need to know would be on that display. Coming over, we've got our climate control for these machines right here. Key was there, throttle knob was there, and then lights, if we need them, are right here. We already put our seat belt on. Then for seat position, there's not a ton of adjustments for a mini excavator. Obviously, they're pretty tight compartments, but there is a little bit of slide in the seat if you needed it all. Generally, you're probably gonna be all the way back with these things. So, that said, we got controls on these machines. We're running in ISO, which is the standard, same as our bigger machines. So right is boom bucket, left is stick and swing. I'll go over those in a moment here. We got our 2 track pedals here, and then there's some additional pedals on the mini excavators for hydraulic thumbs and swinging of the arm, which I'll go over those in a minute. So now, to get this machine live, again, I'm gonna put this safety lock lever down. It locks down. Now everything is live on this equipment. So there we can start one motion at a time on this thing. So again, right hand on the right joystick. If I pull back, it's gonna raise my boom up. And if I go right hand forward, brings the boom down. Then if I'm gonna go right hand to the right, we'll open the bucket. And right hand to the left will close the bucket. Stop there. That's our right joystick. Our left is our stick and swing. So if I push out, push the stick out, pull back, we'll bring the stick back. And then we've got the swing. So with our left or right, if we go left, this will actually swing the entire cab. We can go to the left or go to the right. These controls are the same as any other larger excavator, so those are really your standards that are going to operate no matter size of machine. So those are the joysticks. Now some of the other pieces we have on the mini excavator. The smaller lineups of excavators have also I call it a blade, they call it a stabilizer bar. There's usually another piece right in front of the tracks. There's another lever over to the right here. That's what's going to operate that. So it's just pulling, it doesn't go side to side, it only goes back and forth. So if I pull back on it, it raises my blade in the front. And if I push it down, it'll push that blade down. Now I'll show you when we get started digging why this is on there. There's a couple reasons. Again, you can use it to backfill, although they're not the best. They don't angle back and forth, so it's tough to backfill using this like a dozer blade. I think the bigger thing that we really use, it's calling it a stabilizer bar. Because your tracks, your machine's so much more compact, you want to have a little bit more of a base, so it spreads you out. I can even put a little downward pressure. It makes my machine a little bit more stable when I'm digging. So that's probably the best way you want to use it. Obviously though, it's important to have that retracted before we start driving. Now, with our foot controls then, you got a couple. So there's a left, and most mini excavators have, you might not be able to see it, there's little pedals that can block these if you need it. Now the left foot pedal is the thumb. There's a hydraulic thumb on this machine. So if I push it up, it'll close that thumb. If I push on the back of it, it opens it. And generally you want to keep it retracted when you're not using it, so it's out of the way when you're digging. So that's that. Track paddles we'll go over in a second. That's how we're going to drive it. And then the right side is really it's like a backhoe on a larger machine. This will just swing the arm. So the mini excavators have two different ways you can swing. We already talked about the cab swing. That actually swings my seat the entire machine. You've also got a feature here where you can just swing the arm. So if I go to the right with that, it swings the arm to the right. If I go to the left with my foot, it'll swing it to the left. This is handy for a mini excavator if you're really in a tight configuration, you're trying to dig straight, like maybe along a foundation or some other areas that are really tight. That's an easy way that you can make some adjustments with your arm without having, you might not be able to swing your whole cab. So that's why they use that. Again, we don't use it much out here to train new operators. We have enough free room that we just use the cab swing. So those are all the basic controls, okay? Now we're gonna get into driving. First and foremost, we wanna make sure that blade is up. It's not gonna drive very well with it down. So I pull back on this, have it a few feet off the ground. Now, mini excavator, similar to the big excavators, there's two track pedals or there's foot controls, okay? Every new operator, we always train them with their hands. It's just a lot easier to train them that way. On the minis, you'll see there's two little pieces. Again, these machines are designed to be compact. So I'll show you. Again, an expert would normally use their feet, which is how I'll do it. But I'm gonna keep my hands off these just to show you I'm doing everything with just my feet. If I push both, each one of these controls one of the tracks. If I push left, it pushes the left one. If I push on the back, it goes backwards. So right now, I'm gonna push on both of them. And roughly driving it right there. Let's say I wanna dig right around here. What I'll do now, down there, I usually recommend taking feet off just so it doesn't cause any confusion. Before you dig, again, dropping that stabilizer, that blade, put a little bit of downward pressure, and now I'm ready to dig. Again, like any other excavator, you generally want to dig ideally straight lined up with your tracks. That, especially with that stabilizer bar, it's where the machine is most stable. You've got the largest footprint on the ground there, so you're going to be the best in that position. You obviously can dig at any configuration off the sides, things like that, but your machine just is not going to be quite as stable. The other piece is, you know, this machine, as much as it won't hit, if I curl this in, it will not hit the boom arm or anything, but it will absolutely hit your blade. You'll see I can actually touch my blade down there. I can actually hit my tracks as well. So that's why it's really important that you're never too close off the corners. You want to keep some distance. So to dig a hole, I'm going to extend that out. Again, we start all the way out, so I've got the stick extended. You bring it down towards the ground, stopping a few feet. This is where you want to make sure your teeth are relatively out a little bit. So right about there, put it down in the ground. Once it's in, I'm just going to go right hand to the left, curl that bucket all the way in. Raise it up, and then I can spin left or right to dump right in there. That's fully extended. The other way, if I raise this up, I can bring this stick down and in to dig closer. Same thing though, I want to make that adjustment so my teeth are out a little bit. Put it in the ground, curl that bucket all the way up. As I raise that up, you'll notice that bucket's closer. That is that stick. It controls your distance. Now I'm going to push that out. And I can swing over, dump it right there. Now again, we've really boiled this down just to show one movement at a time. It's much easier for a new operator to just focus on one joystick, one control. Then as you get better, you'll notice an expert will often be, I'm pulling in the stick, I'm raising the boom, I'm curling, I'm doing multiple, 3 things there. That's what an expert's gonna do. And even going out, I can push both, stick out, I can swing at the same time. As you get more proficient, you'll get better at practicing this. So you have multiple motions and pushing it out again. Nice and slow and easy. So that is how you dig with a mini excavator. Okay, so that was digging. Now let's just do a little bit of backfilling on there. To backfill, really the opposite of digging, just making sure your teeth are out a little bit and just curling right through it. Raising that up, swinging over. Now the machines are much more efficient at scooping, so that's how you want to do that. A lot of people try and use the side, and you're going to find the machine just doesn't have much force there. Now with that said, once you get close, and there wasn't much material here, so I can go straight into it, but it's kind of just making sure your bucket is flat to the ground. You don't want to do it with it curled up, because I'm just going to create a concave. It's going to be like a little canyon there. It's not straight. You want to have those teeth flat to the ground, like that. And then just coming through. If it gets stuck like that, I keep swinging. I just raise my boom a little bit, and that'll slide through. Again, for the mini excavators with the blade, I can also show you how to push it with the blade. The other piece here is you can always kind of rake material out away from you. So if I just go right here, I push left hand forward, you'll see how I'm kind of pushing it down. This is also doing multiple motions at the same time. Always trying to make sure my bucket's all the way open so I don't hit that joint on the, you don't want to dig in the back of this bucket. So you'll see right there, if I was to go down like this, it's not great for the machine. I would end up getting a bunch of dirt in there. So we want to have that cylinder closed all the way like that. And then I'm just using the bottom of the bucket to push material out like that. So that's how to backfill. Now I'm going to move the machine. I'm going to show you, 2 things. One, how to use the thumb on it, but also using that blade. Okay. So I just kind of repositioned the machine a little bit. So if I wanted to show really quick how to, again, you saw me I can use the blade in a lot of different capacities here. It is a stabilizer. But just to show you really quickly, I can use this like a little bit like a dozer blade. So I'm just going to have my feet on the pedals there. I'm pushing forward. I'm kind of dropping my blade and just trying to push this material into that hole. Right there. Back up. And I'll try one more. Hook it in there a little bit. Again, it's not the best because the blade will not actually go left or right. It won't adjust, but it will in a pinch. You can do a combination of that and using the side of your bucket. So that's how you use the blade. Now the final thing I want to show is that thumb. So again, I always set that stabilizer bar. It's not a requirement. It depends how much you're picking up, but it is always safer to have that down. Now, again, the thumb is that left joystick, or I'm sorry, the left foot pedal. If I push that forward and that way. Now, I should show you, I'm gonna open my bucket first. The thumb will not go all the way. So you see, that's as far as it goes. So to go any further, I have to actually bring that bucket in to really pinch it in there. So, starting with it retracted, we just use some tires out here, easy for training. But if I try and just get my bucket in there, curl that in so it's nice and tight, now I can pull right hand back and I've got that thing pinched in there. If I then bring it over here, set it down wherever I need it. I'll push it out a little bit away. And I can either open my thumb to drop this. Let's see if I just go like that. See how that retracted there? And I can go back. Sometimes I can get two. Just one there. So again, as long as I don't touch anything with that bucket, it'll stay pinched in there. Then I can move it to where I want. And now I can just open the bucket too if I want. Looks like I'm gonna open I wanna do the thumb there a little bit. There we go, kind of get set up there. Let's try one more. I'll try, you know what, I've got a bowling ball over here. I'm gonna pull it in a little bit off away from this barricade. So again, if I get my teeth down by it, and now I've got it locked in there. So again, I can push it away. I'm going to put it right in the center there. Open my bucket. Boom. And again, it's important to go ahead, once you're done with that, to open that all the way. Get it back in driving position. And then if I were to want to drive to park, pull that back up. And again, drive forward here. Push through this a little bit. Put it there. Again, when I'm parking, I like to set that blade back on the ground, and then we always like to set our buckets flat on the ground. Right there's good. To park it, once you're done, it's very important to pull this safety lock lever up. Again, that deactivates everything right there. We'll do all that. I take my seatbelt off. I will then throttle it down and shut it off. Shut that down. Again, door latch right there. Make sure it's all the way open. 3 points of contact. If possible, come out in backwards. Step there, all the way there. That's our Komatsu mini excavator. Hopefully you enjoyed watching that. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. If you're an expert, if you're an operator, have any other tips or tricks, please post it below. Thanks a lot, you guys, for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.